With the rewritten, exported database from the original site, it's time to import that database into the new site on the web. Here I have my new site, and you can see it is a standard WordPress site with no content. Just to show you I'm not cheating, I'll show you it's one post, one page, one category, one comment, and one approved, and it's under morton.com/migration. I've also logged into the PHP My Admin area for my web host. How you get to this place depends on your host and how that's set up. So you may have to read documentation to get here or even contact them and ask how you get to PHP My Admin. Once you're inside PHP My Admin, it is also vital that you find the correct database to work with. You need to make sure that the database you are working with, in my case, this one called _migration, is in fact the database that's powering this website. If it's not, you'll run into big trouble very quickly because the next step here involves deleting this database. If you want to make absolutely sure that you're working on the right database, you can make a small alteration to the database and see that alteration take place on your website. So I'm going to go to WP options here. And here you see I have all the entries for my site, including at the top here, an entry called blog name. So I'm going to go and change blog name to something else. So I'm going to call it test to see that this is the right database. And when I make that change, one row affected, and reload my site, you should see the title change to test to see that this is the right database. That means what I'm looking at right now, the migration database, is in fact the correct database. Now that I know I'm in the correct database, I can delete all the content in the database. So again, make sure you are in the correct database. If you are at all uncertain about this, stop right now. Only do this if you are absolutely certain this is the correct database for your new website and that you are ready to overwrite what's on it. All right? So I'm going to check all my tables, click under with selected, drop, and this will delete every piece of my data, meaning if you have anything on this database, it will disappear right now. Click yes, your database is deleted, and now you have no database in your table. If you want to check, you can go back to your site and reload it. And you should now land on the standard WordPress installer page, meaning there's currently nothing in the database. That means you can now import the original database into this new site. So I'm going to click import, browse for files, find SWAT updated, which is the one we altered the URLs in. Click open, scroll down, and click go. The file is now uploaded into the system. And when I click on structure, you'll see here we have the original database structure from the original website. And now, when I go back to morton.com/migration, which is the location of my new site, and I reload this page, I land on a site that looks exactly the same as the original site. That means I have all my theme settings in place, the theme is activated, I have my images, and all my content. Just to make sure, I can also go back to the back end. And here you need to log back in because you've now cleared the database and started over. So I have to go to WP-admin. Because this is, for all intents and purposes, a new database on a new site, you may have to update your WordPress database. So click Update WordPress Database and continue. And then you are taken to your login where you can log in. And from here, you can see you have 9 posts, 1 page, 4 categories, 29 tags. And when you go to media, you see you have all the media content, meaning your site exported onto the web matches exactly the original site that sits on localhost. Now that all your content has been imported and everything looks like it's working properly, you have to make sure it actually works properly too. That means clicking on links throughout the site to make sure they actually point where they're supposed to, and pay special attention to your URL here to make sure it doesn't all of a sudden say localhost instead of your new site. You also need to go through your posts to make sure that your images are appearing and that your galleries are working and that everything is working as you would expect. This is very important because in some cases you have strange situations where, for example, you may have uppercase file extensions in the original server and you have lowercase file extensions in the new server and images won't appear properly and you may have to go in through FTP and change some file extensions or other elements. But doing a proper beta testing of your entire site now, looking through posts, clicking on links, and making sure everything works will ensure that you have a site that still works, even though it's now been exported onto a live host on the web.